What's up, guys? My name is Devin Ortega. I'm joined here with
Jacob Roden.
Dylan Matthews.
And Jaden Stevens.
and welcome back to All My Friends Are Warriors podcast. Had a mini stroke there for like a half a second.
We all do.
Yeah. But the topic of today is going to be about depression.
Depression.
Yeah, and the very first thing I feel like we should debunk is like what people would describe depression as, the feeling of depression. Because by definition, it's like this feeling of hopelessness. And you can't really... Is hopelessness even really like a feeling? Is it even real? Is hopelessness something that's real?
Well, I mean, there's an argument between if it's like a paradox or like an actual feeling, and like what we've learned is that it's kind of like more of a paradox, because if it was a feeling, I could identify as something that I'm not, you know, then that's not the truth. And so I feel that it's more of a paradox than anything.
Yeah. Because if you feel it, then is it real, or is it like not real?
Just,
You can never not have hope. You can't not have hope.
Yeah.
It's something like that.
Yeah, you can't not have hope. You're always gonna have hope.
Always something to strive for. I feel that like feelings aren't really like real. They're like false. And depression, a lot of time it's like, I don't want to say like mindset because that might trigger a bunch of people, but
I think in a sense it
I
is
think
kind of a
it
mindset.
almost is like a mindset.
I think it's a choice, because if you can never not feel hope, then you can't really be hopeless, because that's just a feeling. So you can always have something to strive for and get out of that depressed state.
Yeah, it's kind of like when people say that love is a feeling. Love's not a feeling; it's a choice. Because when you get up out of bed, you're not always gonna feel like you're gonna want to do something. It's kind of like, if you are depressed, you're gonna feel like you're not gonna want to do anything, and you're gonna feel like you're hopeless, which you're not.
Yeah, if you feel like something, you can just feel like not being
Exactly.
hopeless. Strive for something that's greater than what you don't feel like doing.
Yeah.
Like, you should strive and practice character. You should strive towards virtue, because through virtue and doing stuff that like you love and you're content with, like fighting, lifting weights, playing sports, through those type of things and struggling uphill, because it's not always going to be the easiest path. It's going to be like a very up and down. It's going to be a rocky road. There's going to be pitfalls. You're going to mess up sometimes. You're not always going to be the best player or the strongest guy in the gym.
Right.
But you're always going to be content that you're struggling uphill, because no one goes uphill on purpose. They're always going to be met with that resistance. On accident. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
But they're always going to be met with resistance when they start going uphill. And, it comes to that where they're given that option to continue going uphill and strive to be better, or to not and to give up.
Yeah.
And through striving to be better, you'll find joy. And then there's the difference between joy and happiness.
Yeah.
Happiness is something that is temporary. It comes and goes, and it's not for sure. You're not always going to be happy.
Yeah.
But you can always be joyful.
Right. Yeah.
Even when things aren't always going your way, you can feel joy, and you can be content that you're still like striving to be better. So I think through practicing character and virtue, that's one of the main ways to get out of a state of depression, if you feel like you're depressed.
Yeah. And like just how there's a difference between happiness and joy, there's also a difference between being sad and being depressed. Being depressed is like you're like at your lowest low, and you do like you feel like there's nothing to help you.
Yeah,
and you're just like in this
numb.
you're just in this pit. And a lot of people mistake being sad for depression. You can feel sad, like I feel sad sometimes, but I don't think I've ever been in like a super deep state of like depression. I've probably showed maybe some levels like I guess, levels of depression, but I've never been like super deep into that because like I know myself and I don't want to let myself get into something like that. And plus, I know how to kind of control myself when I do get sad. And I think that's something that we should talk about next is like what to do when you feel that depression or you feel that sadness. And me personally, I'll just say that I kind of just, go back to what I've learned in the Club of Character. I just, you don't have to necessarily start from ground zero, but you can kind of like practice those ways that, you did practice before. And so part of that is, you might just meditate or just not think about, anything and just give some time to yourself, get off your phone, maybe go outside, play a sport that you love, go work out, just do anything. That's kind of what I do. Like when I feel, sadness. And when I say sadness because I don't, like me personally, I'm not saying others don't, but me personally, I don't get super depressed. And but I think that just comes from all the time that I've spent working on myself, not letting myself get into those certain stages. But yeah, I just work on myself. I kind of just do the things that I love, which, there's a bunch of things that I love, but some things are like working out or, playing football or even just being quiet and just like sitting outside and just looking at nature.
Yeah, I think that you said that you know yourself. Knowing thyself is one of like the most powerful things, because if you know yourself, then you know that you can't really let things affect you and you can't really be depressed.
Yeah.
Because you know yourself, and at the end of the day, you know what you love and you know that you can have hope. Because hope is something that you can't not have. So you'll know how to escape depression and escape depression or sadness, in fact.
Yeah. I don't know about like you. I don't know about you guys, but have you ever like gotten to a point where you actually felt like you were depressed? Like, have you ever been in that like stage?
I personally have not. No. But I've definitely felt sadness.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right.
I've never really felt depressed, but there's been times where I've been sad, been happy, but those are emotions. They're gonna come and go. But I've never actually, been in that state where I feel like there's nothing I could do that's gonna make me happy.
Yeah. Well, something I can say that will go over for like all of us is that we've been in situations that a lot of people in the world might actually get depressed from.
Yeah,
Because I know I've been through a lot of crap. Devin's been through a lot of crap. You have been through a lot of crap. All of us have been through so much bad stuff that can easily make a lot of people in the whole entire world.
Definitely.
I think that's another misconception. Like through social media and like platforms like that, I feel like depression was kind of starting to get like a little trendy there for a while. Like on TikTok, it was like almost.
It was like our 6th grade year, like that 2022.
Grade,
I don't know why.
6th grade and 7th grade, I feel like.
Yeah,
but it was like almost trendy. Like you were almost
people
like
you started
followed to be like depressed or something.
Yeah, they started to make themselves the victim, and everybody started to care for them, be like, "Oh no, you're fine, you're perfect the way you are." Yeah. And it was like everyone was just starting to become a victim, and like they're depressed, and it started to become a thing where most people wanted to do it at that point.
Yeah, it was very popular to be depressed, and that's why I feel like a lot of people who were saying they're depressed, a lot of the time it's fake. It's not really real. They might be like sad or they're lying. They're like faking it. Yeah. And then there's people who genuinely do feel like they can't do anything. Yeah. And for those people, you should strive for virtue and character to help yourself get out of that situation. Yeah. We got a question from the live audience.
Do you think, go ahead and talk about, you said some people fake it or they do it for clout or for attention. Do you think by proxy of faking it, they can actually slip into that being their personality and really actually get depressed?
Yeah. So the question was, there are a lot of people for the people who do fake it and the people who do it for clout and for attention, can they slip into depression, like real depression?
Yeah. Because
they make it their personality. And I think totally, because if they are like a leech and they need attention and they need this clout if they're not getting that attention and clout,
What's,
well, if that was their only source of happiness, not joyfulness, but happiness, it will come, and then when it disappears, they're gonna be depressed because they don't have anything. They don't have like values. They don't have morals.
They don't have anything that they can rely on to uplift
they
them.
don't have character to fall back on.
Yeah, if all they want is this attention and, they want the clout and they want people, being like, oh, no, you're perfect the way you are, is once that's gone, nothing's stopping them from being depressed and falling into that state. So once that's gone, I feel like it can totally happen to where someone falls into depression.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this like plays into the percentage of people who are depressed, but I wonder if going through puberty and going from that 12-year-old to 14-year-old stage, I wonder if that plays a role into it because you're going through
Emotions,
changes
hormones.
and Zane, can you pull it up please? Because I can definitely tell like when I was in 6th grade, that was I was going through changes and stuff, and I wasn't saying like I was depressed, but like I don't know, it was much different than my 5th grade year. Like my 5th grade year, I was, obviously like I was 5th grade Jaden, so I was still like, but I wasn't like super sad or anything like that. But then my 6th grade year, I don't know if it was the fact that like, I don't know, Seabass wasn't in our classroom, but that can't be an excuse because he had already been teaching me all these ways before that. Zane?
Yeah, it says that due to like mood swings.
Yeah, mood swings.
Hormones changing, I feel like, can definitely play a big factor.
Yeah,
But that shouldn't be really an excuse.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it could be a reason why you might be sad sometimes, but you should never let that drag yourself down and pull you into like depression.
Like you were saying earlier, like you said in like 6th grade, you were feeling like almost like lower, as like closer to depression.
Yeah, like that was probably my closest I've been.
But like you said, you mentioned earlier that depression was like trendy at the time.
That wasn't me. That was
me.
It was
But
Devin.
Yeah,
But still.
during that 6th grade, 7th grade year, I feel like that could be another factor.
Yeah, like you're saying, you started to feel, find yourself in a state of kind of depression. What do you think, made you start to feel that? Was it like over summer, you didn't have good people around you, or was it like, what do you really think, started to make you feel like that?
I think that it was the fact that I wasn't practicing what I was being taught, but also I wasn't doing anything like super bad, but then there's that kind of like the hill where it's like, yeah, you're not doing any, you're not practicing your character, but then you're also not doing anything good. So your life's just kind of like nothing, kind of in a way.
Just like the littlest things, not practicing character, how you do anything is how you do everything. It's going to correlate from this to that. So I feel like that might have been a reason why.
Yeah. So I definitely think like kind of what we've been talking about, like the changes, like the hormones and stuff. And then like what Zane was saying, the mood swings, I definitely think it plays like,
a role.
It plays a big role in the percentage of people who are depressed.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I was depressed in 6th grade, but I'm just saying that that's probably the closest I've been.
It could be a factor.
Yeah, started to. No, I guess you couldn't say that you started to feel sad more often because you could just feel sad at any point.
Yeah.
But it'll come and then it'll go. So.
Exactly. And it's okay to feel sad. Like sadness is gonna come in life. That's just like joy is a thing, depression's a thing. Being sad is a thing. Being happy is a thing.
Yeah.
Like you can't have one without the other. It's yin and yang. So it's good to be sad. Just don't try to let it take a toll on your life. Don't let it control your life.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing with sadness and like depression.
Yeah.
So there's an internet personality out there, and I have a question. He was like saying, I can't be depressed because I don't believe in depression. How do you guys think that's like real? So if you like fake it till you make it, as if you don't believe in depression.
I saw a video like that.
Well, if you say that and like you actually
if you believe it and you have hope,
don't get
then
depressed.
you can't feel hopeless. So
Yeah.
by like definition,
Do you think that's like
I think he's right.
Yeah.
I think that's an amazing mindset to have
Yeah.
because he'll be almost like bulletproof. Like he'll be joyful. There'll be, and Seabass says joy is
the
bulletproof happiness.
Yeah.
Because happiness, like we said, it
Yeah.
comes and goes. It's like that 16th second. Like,
yeah.
you just PR'd. You just hit like 285 on bench. You just won the NBA championship. You just won the Super Bowl.
Mm.
But after, you get all that fame and you get all that clout in those first 15 seconds, once that 16th second rolls around
Mhm.
and everybody starts to forget about it, you're not going to feel as happy. So then you're going to need something else to fall back on, and that'll be your joy. That'll be your hope. That'll be you feeling like you can't be depressed.
Yeah.
The 16th second is like, I guess, kind of like a reality check. I'm get like kind of like that.
Yeah.
I really like that video when the valedictorian was talking about that. Zane, can we tag that in the description? Thank you.
God, Zane's getting tired of us.
Jeez, I've asked you one time, Zane. Come on.
What was it, the Jordan Peterson book?
Yeah. But yeah, so the 16th second, like Devin was saying, it's that, after you win the Super Bowl or something like that, you feel this state of like emptiness, and all the, cheering is gone, and you're back at home, and you're just like, is that all?
Yeah, and that's why you guys talk about this, that's why you should love the journey more so than the destination.
Mhm.
The destination's the bonus.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The principle that you're loving is actually the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When
When
depressed because
Yeah.
people they tie their happiness to these destinations, not to the
Yeah.
Yeah. People, a lot of the time, they do. Yeah, they tie their happiness to the destination rather than loving the journey. And that's one of, like, a huge misconception. You see a lot of quotes that say you should love the journey, not the destination. And you'll start to love the journey because that's, there was a quote our basketball coach put on, like, a piece of paper and gave it to all of us. It was, a man finds strength not through like accomplishing things or like big achievements. He finds strength through struggling.
Yeah.
And it's like struggling uphill. It's loving the journey, not the destination.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what's wrong about, just loving the destination is say it takes you, 10 years to actually, reach your destination. If every year you look at where you've come, but you're just thinking about the destination, you're not thinking about your journey, you're gonna, feel kind of depressed, because if you're only looking at the destination, you're not there yet. You can't look at how far you've come, because
You'll
there's going to
give
be these
up.
little improvements from this to that, but your destination is still here, and you're
Yeah.
going to be here, but you went from this to there. And if they're
It'll
only
be like-
thinking about the destination, they're not going to be thinking about the little improvements they're making. And
It'll be like
Yeah.
watching grass grow. You never really, if
Yeah.
you're just analyzing grass and watching it grow and staring at it for hours on end, you're never really gonna see the little progress that it makes in growing.
Yeah. But
You
if
have to.
if you look away for a month and you look back and you be like, whoa, like that's way.
That's crazy growth, man.
Yeah, you can't while you're in the journey, be thankful for the journey and learn from the journey, because you're honestly going to learn more from the journey than the actual accomplishment itself. Kind of like a unique way to think about it is you can't start a car without keys. You have to have the keys first in order to get the accomplishment, which is to start the car. And
I hot wire it.
huh?
What if he hot wires it?
Oh, but then you're just cheating the journey.
Yeah.
So you're gonna
He's
get
teleporting.
you're gonna, honestly, to be real, you're gonna earn more from the journey, or you're gonna learn more from the journey than the actual destination. The destination is the main thing that you've been
The
working
destination
for.
is that bonus.
But the journey is gonna teach you hard work and discipline and
The
what it's like to
journey-
not quit.
the journey is where you're gonna find that joyfulness,
Mm.
while the destination is where you're gonna get that short-term gratification, the happiness.
Yeah, and then the accomplishment is just the prize, eye on the
Yeah.
prize.
And then, starting to respect the journey, you could actually realize how far you've come from this place to that place.
Exactly.
Zoom out, you can talk about that, your stock portfolio.
Oh yeah.
Down
Yeah.
2
So
cents.
I don't know if it's just a quote or someone said it, but there's something I like to kind of live by is, when in doubt, zoom out. And it kind of applies to life because when you're in these situations of, I'm not going to be able to do this, and what do I do in this situation? If you just zoom out and you look at it, then you could actually analyze and figure out problems and solve it. So then you could, take the better step, figure out what to do. And, with my portfolio and, what's it?
Stock market?
Yeah, thank you. And with my portfolio in the stock market, right now I don't see much. I don't see much because I don't have much in it, to be
you
honest.
just
How much
started.
do you have?
I have $150 in it, but that's the cap, so I can't invest more.
Yeah.
But also, I don't see much. So if I, am just looking at that, why wouldn't I feel, hopeless?
Yeah, why wouldn't you just feel like selling immediately? Because you have nothing. Like, it hasn't given you anything yet.
And then once I zoom out and I realize what it can be down the road, and then how I, I've just put in $5 this time, that's creating these like discipline habits. So then eventually later on, that could be I'm putting in 500, putting in 500, putting in 500, not $5.
Yeah.
And that's how I kind of like to think about it.
Yeah. Another thing you always hear like zoom out or like look inwards and find yourself. That's like a big, man. What is it? Temperance. Yeah, you need to find the temperance in the middle and know when to use both depending on the situation you're in. You can use both at the same time. You can know thyself, but also like zoom out and see things on another level.
Definitely.
Yeah. You definitely have to, what's that quote? When in doubt, zoom out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something that like, even if you're not depressed, that everyone should like use and like really just
because it'll help you through just little situations in life that maybe you don't see immediately.
Yeah.
In zooming out, you'll find the answer to them.
Question?
That's for sure.
When in doubt, zoom out. Like, I don't know if you guys can speak on times or just references, just in case I'm blurred or whatever. But there was a time when you're upset that you're not benching as much, but there was a time when you couldn't even lift up the bar.
Yeah.
There was a time when you're like you're looking at your wife or your girlfriend, and you're like you're upset with them, but there was a time you freaking had goo dog eyes, like puppy dog eyes, wanting them. Right? There was a time where you're like, man, I'm not doing really good. I got benched by the coach. There was a time you wanted to be on the team. So I think counting your blessings, and maybe you can kind of talk about that in your own experience.
Yeah, I feel like that's a great talking point.
Yeah, you should really count your blessings. In zooming out, when you're going through these hard situations, like if you can't, like say you can't bench like 285, or 185. What about a time when you couldn't even bench the bar? You've made such an accomplishment being able to bench the bar and then getting to where you're at. You should really count those blessings of making that like journey and getting to where you're at instead of like complaining that you can't bench 185. You should be like joyful and you should be happy that you made it this far. And this could apply for anything.
Yeah.
This could apply to you just made a basketball team. And you might be benched, but you made the team. There's all these other kids that didn't even make the team. So that in itself is a huge accomplishment. So you should really, once you start counting your blessings and seeing what you do have rather than what you don't have and what you want, once you see what you have, you'll really be able to, like, I don't think you'll be depressed because you'll know what you have.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So that applies to absolutely everyone, but something that applies more to is like backups on a sports team. Like say you're a backup on a team, like say you're an NFL quarterback and you're a backup, you're like second or third string. Well, then you're still an NFL quarterback. You'd still light up the game in college football.
Yeah.
Like you'd still light up the game in high school football. Like you got there and you worked so hard and you might have not earned that starting spot, but that doesn't mean you can stop. So I think what you just said, it obviously applies to everyone, but especially sports players.
Yeah.
I have like another example of that. I think his name is Kevin Levrone or something like that. I don't know. He's a bodybuilder, but he was huge, but he went into multiple different competitions and he never got like Mr. Olympia award.
Oh, okay.
He came like second and stuff. Multiple different years. He lost like Ronnie, like Coleman or whatever, but he was still one of the greatest and by far looks better than most of the population.
Yeah,
Oh.
no. I mean that goes to like loving the journey instead of like needing the destination.
Mhm.
He made it there through the journey. Like, yeah, he didn't get to the destination he might have wanted to, but through that journey, even getting second place is a huge accomplishment. And he couldn't say he like wasted his time.
Mhm. Yeah.
He didn't
I mean,
waste his time. He if he counts his blessings, and he made second place.
yeah, counting his blessings, you know, he could think back to when his bicep used to go straight like this, and then now there's like a ginormous hump. But it used to be able to go, and it was just like this. Maybe it went up just a little, but then to think of that now to where it's like this, and
It's massive.
yeah,
Yeah.
And
Question?
So what I was also gonna say, you could talk about this too. Like, it's a terrible mindset to be like, let's say I didn't get first in this or that. Well, there can only be one first place.
Yeah.
So what is the rest of the competition supposed to go home and feel depressed? What a terrible thing.
Yeah.
I'm not world champion. I fell short of this. Okay, so why are other people who don't even compete like that? Why are they able to find joy? And so that's something to talk about. And then also, Bruce Lee's would rather pray for the strength.
Oh,
of
it's
their
under-
difficult life.
yeah,
Yeah, so what Seabass was talking about just now is he was saying that like when you're in like a race or like a sports game or like a tournament, there's only one first place to give out.
Mhm.
And so when you don't get first place and you get second place and you go home feeling depressed, like it's like
Or any other place.
or any other place,
If
like
you don't get first, are all the other people who didn't get first supposed to just feel depressed now?
yeah, no, that's a bad way of
That's
thinking.
a horrible mindset.
Mhm.
Yeah, like you should feel lucky enough that you even made it to that tournament.
oh yeah, definitely.
That you even got on that team or you know
That you were able
Yeah,
to
made the
participate.
qualifier or something.
Even if you
I don't
didn't
know.
get first, Bruce Lee says I'd rather pray for the strength to endure.
Yeah, no, yeah. Don't pray for an easy
Don't pray
life.
he doesn't pray for an easy life. He doesn't pray for just first place automatically. He prays for the strength to endure a difficult one.
Yeah.
To where even if he doesn't get first place, he's still like glad he has the strength to continue striving to then
Yeah.
eventually be first place one day.
Yeah. A good word of advice to you guys, and then for anyone else, who might be dealing with depression,
Mm.
is if you do resort to praying to God, which I bet a lot of people do, don't beg to get out of the depression, as in being like please get me out of this. You have to be like, please God, give me the strength to get out of this. I don't care how long it'll take. I just need to get out of this, and I need your help with giving me the challenges to get through this.
Yeah.
That-
A lot
I
of people pray to him the wrong way, and that's why sometimes the prayers aren't
the way
answered.
to get out. Yeah.
And then,
And-
but if you do ask him in the right way, and you get out of depression, then you can be like, he answered my prayer, and
Yeah.
but you actually gotta like, when you go through the challenges, and for those of you who just listen to that word of advice, next time you pray and you're like, God, please give me the strength. It's not gonna you're not gonna get you're not gonna be out of depression the day after.
Mhm.
Probably the day after, he's probably gonna give you a challenge to get out of the depression. He might, it might be something crazy, like you might have, lost your dog or your cat, or
He'll give you these challenges that'll force you to either zoom out, like when in doubt, zoom out, or look inwards and find thyself.
yeah,
And it all ties back to following virtue and practicing character.
Mhm.
Because
Definitely.
through doing that, like I said earlier, you'll find joy. And with joy, you can never really truly be depressed.
Mm.
You might feel sadness occasionally, but that's just an emotion that'll come and go. Just
Exactly.
like happiness.
Yeah, I was about to say just like happiness. So yeah, definitely be careful on when you say that you're depressed, if you're actually depressed or you're just feeling a little bit of sadness, but also be careful when you say you're happy, because
That'll always come and go.
yeah, it'll always
Yeah.
come and go. You want to feel true joyfulness, and
You should strive to be content with your life.
Right.
and find
exactly.
Yeah.
Well said, amen.
I kind of like to think of it as if you're happy, right around the corner there's sadness. If you're sad, right around the corner there's happiness.
Yeah.
So if you're happy, you can't just say, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna be happy for months and months," because right around the corner, one little thing, and then you could be sad. And if you're sad, one thing that can make you happy is just right there, and you got to do that thing to become happy.
Embrace the suck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Gotta embrace the
Was it?
suck.
Was it Epictetus? Was a slave?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, Epictetus, who was he was a slave, but he was joyful. Why?
Yeah.
He had all these reasons to be depressed. He was a slave. He didn't get anything. He was treated like shit.
Yeah.
But he still chose to be joyful and to be like virtuous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you might not have much, but one thing that you do have is if you're born. Because what are the odds of you being born? Isn't it like
one in-
one?
Like 1 in 150,
I don't
something
know.
like that.
150.
Yeah, I think it's some.
It's like way higher.
Yeah,
What you mean? 150 is
way
not
more?
crazy, Jay.
Around 1 in 400 trillion.
Yeah.
What? Oh my!
I think
like
your
one
number
of
was
those
a
are
little
little
off. bro.
Okay, my bad. I
yeah,
did not have.
yeah,
that.
1 in 150. Hey, clip that. Clip
Yeah,
that.
well,
No, we're not clipping that, please.
Yeah.
Maybe you
so-
guys.
No, that's
I think you were a
embarrassing.
little off, Jay.
So yeah, I mean, you
No,
may not
no.
you may not have much, you may not get this one thing that you want, but just to be here on Earth and to be able to have a life is insane because
Yeah.
it's 1 out of 150, as Jaden says.
Dude,
Alright.
you
1 in
thought-
400 trillion.
No,
right?
like I
Or
actually
40
thought it was
trillion?
something small like that.
400.
And I was
400
like,
trillion?
Dang.
4 trillion.
Zen, I was gonna ask you what is the percentage rate of like what is the depression rate of like 14 and 15-year-olds? If you could pull that
Yeah,
up.
dude,
Real quick.
Yeah, what is like
Because I really want to know.
West.
Search it up in the in the
Yeah.
West in the Gen Z.
But yeah, that's
Well, obviously
14
14.
got.
Yeah, 14 to 15.
Go ahead and repeat the question too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Why? I guess how does stoicism help with character? Uppercase stoicism, but then also why the difference between Greek and Roman stoicism?
okay.
I think one of you guys know.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, I
I
do.
can,
Yeah.
I can expand on
So-
that.
Mhm.
In the United States, about 3.5% of 15 through 19-year-olds have depression.
So wait, what was the number? 3.5%?
3.5 from 15 to 19-year-olds.
3.5%?
Wait, correct me if I'm wrong. That's not too high, right?
It's
That's
like 1 in
no, 1 in 30.
Oh, okay.
Well,
So,
yeah. Then you also got to think of like there's like 4 billion people.
Yeah,
Wait,
that-
you just search up in the West?
4 billion
Oh, in
people.
the
The
USA.
So basically,
No. I
just-
thought.
Maybe
No,
Jaden refers to.
Jaden doesn't really know
doesn't
numbers.
say numbers for now.
no,
Yeah.
no, like 4
Jaden-
billion as in
Jaden-
like the everyone in the whole entire Earth.
There's
Like,
double that.
no.
There's
Jaden's
like,
not the best
4 billion.
mathematician
It's 4
as the
billion.
there's
Chinese
more
are.
than 4
Jaden, we're
billion
gonna
on
drop
Earth.
this.
No,
Think-
not on my level of knowledge.
Bro.
Jaden, Jaden,
We're
alright,
gonna
guys.
drop this and go back to Seabass's question.
Yeah, Jaden isn't the best
Uh,
mathematician.
But
Get your phone out of here, bro.
yo,
He's looking at
It's
his
4
notes.
billion, guys. It's 4 billion. I'm kidding.
yeah,
it's 8
no,
billion.
okay. So Seabass had said, how does like uppercase stoicism, the philosophy, not just showing no emotion, but how does the Stoic philosophy, how does that tie into
I guess
finding
handling
joy or
Mhm.
handling depression? Well, Stoics believe in this thing called like preferred indifference, right? So they prefer, like, if things were going great in their life, they prefer that, but they're very indifferent on it. They're not gonna let, even if things are going bad in their life, they're not gonna let like these bad things drag them down, and they're not gonna let it like make them be depressed. They're indifferent on it. They don't need good things to be happening in their life to be like joyful.
Mhm.
So even when there are these bad things going on in their life, they can still be happy and
Yeah.
still be joyful.
Yeah.
And they're not gonna they're not gonna rely and depend on happiness.
Yeah.
While they would prefer it, while they would prefer for like a bunch of money, they don't need all that money.
Mhm. And Stoics were also like really big on like not letting things get to them. So that's
Yeah.
also a big
They
thing
were
with
very good at
depression.
controlling their emotions. That's what people get wrong about uppercase and lowercase stoicism, when they just say like, "Yeah, my uncle is very stoic. He doesn't show emotion."
That's lowercase.
Like that's lowercase stoicism. While uppercase stoicism is, yeah, you can show emotion, but you know how to control it,
Yeah,
and you can temper your emotion.
definitely.
Yeah, so not letting things get to you is definitely a good way to like not be in a depression state, but that's also way easier to say it than actually do it.
Yeah, because
It's a lot easier to say don't let things get to you than to actually not let things get to
Yeah,
you. Because
'cause-
everyone can say that. Everyone knows that you shouldn't let things get to you. But like when you're actually in the situation, and I'll say this from my personal experience, I've been able to say, don't let things get to you. But then what has happened before? I've let things get to me. It's a lot harder than it looks.
There's always going to be people who critique you, and it's going to be hard to, you know, not listen to that criticism. You know, the criticism that's not going to help you, obviously. And there's this quote by Jackson Stevens, you know, if you're, imagine you're a peach. I'm not going to get too into it, but, you know, if people hate you as a peach or people like you as a peach, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you're still a peach.
Amen.
Yeah, amen. Preach that.
Yeah.
No, 100%. And in those times where you're being challenged, that's where your character will grow, because you're going to be struggling, and you have to struggle uphill so you can grow as a person and find joy.
Yeah.
Love that destination. And another thing, the other part of Seabass's question was asking about the difference between Greek Stoicism and Roman Stoicism. The main difference between those two, we'll start with Greek Stoicism. Greek Stoicism was baseline, like, do, like, the right thing, not for, like, any prize or any reward, but just because it's the reward is practicing Stoicism to better your life. You shouldn't expect anything in return for that.
Yeah.
While on the other hand, Roman Stoicism was
like practice to become a good citizen, right?
It was practice to not become depressed, or, you know, as a reward of practicing it, you wouldn't be sad or something like that.
Yeah.
It was basically do the virtuous thing. In Greece, it was do the virtuous thing because it's the virtuous thing.
Yeah.
In Rome, it was
do the virtuous
thing,
thing.
and as a proxy, here's the reward. You won't be depressed.
Yeah.
So both are good.
Both are good,
but one's
and
like,
similar. I think.
but I feel like Greek Stoicism was, in a sense, I guess, more virtuous because they were doing it
just
for
because
baseline for virtue. Well, Romans were doing it because by proxy, practicing Stoicism, you won't be depressed. You will find joy.
Yeah, and I mean,
either way, you should do it just to do it because it's virtuous, and you won't be depressed. You'll find joy.
Yeah,
either way.
It's great that the Romans still practiced, you know, virtue and, like, you know, lived by Stoicism and things like that. But, you know, it'll just be better if you're only doing it, or if you're actually doing it just because it's virtuous and not for actual prize.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot better than nothing. You know, there's levels. So.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a lot better than what's being taught like nowadays.
Yeah, now people are being taught to victimize themselves and play the role of the victim rather than practicing.
So go on.
Rather than practicing like philosophy or following virtue and character. So like doing bare minimum will help you extremely.
Yeah. So, the question?
Yeah. What's your advice to people who are going through depression? Like, do you recommend everything from books to readings to
Well, I mean, my advice for anybody who's going through depression, well, one, at the start of the podcast, we talked about how you should always, you know, follow the path of virtue and character and struggle uphill, because even when you do fall down, it's not about how many times you can get knocked down.
Not about how hard you can hit.
No, not that one.
Oh.
It doesn't matter about how many times you get knocked down. It
matters
how many times you get up, or if you're gonna get up the next time. So even when you're struggling up hills, when you're gonna find that joy to get out of depression, and there's a billion of ways you can do that. It's doing things you love, like that you enjoy doing, will help you find that joy. So whether it be reading philosophy books, there's a whole bunch back there. Not even gonna get into them, because there's just so much to unpack. There'll be many pods on books and libraries. But there's that. You could love lifting weights. There's sports. You know, I find a bunch of happiness and joy through playing football or basketball. It lets me clear my mind and kind of not really care about it lets me live like this carefree bliss state where I can really just focus on like the game rather than these outside things that might be affecting me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would say something that would help when you're in a depressed state is talk to your loved ones, get their advice, you know, express, what you're going through. Only to trustworthy people, though. You can't, like, you actually got to make sure they're super close to you, whether it's your mom, your dad, your grandparents, your friend, your girlfriend, whatever. Just, if you feel like you have someone that can help you out, kind of like someone you can like rely on.
Yeah.
Definitely talk to them and, see if they can help you out.
Yeah, expressing your emotions and being able to talk it out is definitely a big thing.
But also don't become don't act like the victim.
Yeah, don't victimize yourself.
But definitely you definitely want to find someone you can, maybe talk to, and then hopefully that person will give you good advice. Like if someone came up to me and they were like, "Hey man, I'm depressed and this is why." I would most definitely give them some advice. I would talk to them about some experiences that I've had when I've been super sad before, and I would recommend what they should do moving forward to get them out of this depressed stage as quick as possible. And those ways would be kind of like what you said, practicing virtue, reading philosophy books, playing sports, doing things you love, anything that you love doing, spending your time doing, whether that's hanging out with someone or like some things that we just mentioned earlier, just
staying busy.
Busy. Yeah. Don't let yourself kind of get caught like in your bed or anything like that. Like get out and do something,
Yeah.
Get something done.
There's this quote by Marcus Aurelius, I believe, and it's like, although the sheets or the blankets may be comfortable, the virtuous thing to do is to get out of them. And I butchered that quote a little bit, but I believe it's something along the lines of that.
Yeah, when you stay like stagnant and not moving, and that could be applied to literally just laying in bed and not doing anything, or that could be applied to you're putting yourself in these positions where you have more chances to like do unvirtuous things. And I think being busy and finding things to do, like joining sports, that's a huge way to remove yourself from these situations of vice and these situations where you could begin to feel depressed.
Yeah.
So being busy, I think, is a huge thing you can do.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Finding things that you love and enjoy doing that will better your life and better yourself and help you find joy.
Yeah. What about you, Dylan? What are some things that
you said being
a lot
busy?
of physical, not entertainment, but a lot of physical activities like wrestling.
But I was gonna say, like, I have a heavy bag, and sometimes like when I feel, like sad, like I go work out and like.
Yeah, I think those things can work as like an outlet.
But you gotta be careful with that type of stuff.
Yeah, I think it'll work as like an outlet to where you can let your emotions out, so you don't. It's like controlling them, and being able to let it out in not like a rash way, where you could hurt other people. Rather, you're like letting it out on your own time, so no one else has to be hurt in the process.
But whatever you do, please to God, don't cove to like drugs and stuff. That's the worst. I would say that's probably the worst thing that you could do when you're in that stage.
Yeah, because doing drugs, like, you're gonna, like, if you
get that short-term gratification.
You'll get short-term gratification. You might be happy after you do if you do drugs, you might be happy, but that's not joy.
Yeah.
That happiness will flee. It'll leave. It's not for sure. It won't ever completely stay.
Yeah.
So don't turn to that short-term gratification.
Yeah, and with the short-term gratification, by, doing things like drugs, in that moment you feel good. You'll be like, oh, I feel relieved, my stress is gone. But then, in a few hours you're like, I need it. I need to do it again.
It'll make you more stressed in the process.
Quote unquote a fiend.
And that's actually kind of, what I was going to ask. Correct me if I'm wrong, but don't a lot of people take like prescriptions and like medications?
Yeah. So people are prescribed in certain situations. People are prescribed marijuana or
Antidepressant.
marijuana.
Yeah.
And there are certain situations. I mean, I haven't really done too much like research on it. I don't know if like it actually helps. I mean, I
just-
know that it's somehow a medicine.
I think
guess.
it'll just calm them down. But I think ultimately, even if you do, and if you are prescribed that stuff, don't abuse it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but
Because
that's how.
if you abuse it and you take advantage of what you're given,
Mhm.
is where it'll lead to worse situations.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's how people get addicted to that stuff because, like, say you get prescribed, 6 months of smoking marijuana to only help you calm yourself down, and they give you a certain amount. A lot of people after that 6 months are like, damn, that felt real good. Like when I did it, I'm just gonna go keep on doing it more illegally.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, there's other ways people get addicted to it, but I feel like that's one way people get addicted
Yeah,
is like when people are prescribed it. And I mean, yeah, so
Yeah, I mean,
When you are in like a state of depression, it's really finding virtue rather than following vice
mhm.
to help you get out of that situation.
Yeah, because like with the medications and prescriptions, whether it be you take a pill every day or you smoke pot or marijuana, I feel like you're like I said with drugs, you're gonna feel good, but then eventually later on that day or the next day you're gonna be like, I need it again, and then eventually once you take that prescription
You
away,
become codependent. to
yeah,
it.
you start to become codependent, and once they take it away, that's when you start to lose yourself because you're like,
Yeah.
I need it, and then you start to just lose yourself in that process. So
Yeah, no, completely. That's why you really need to, when you're in these like hard times, these difficult times, following virtue and knowing thyself, even zooming out, like when in doubt, zoom out. All these things are things that should be applied to your life because they'll help you.
Mhm.
They'll help you find that joy.
Yep.
And help
That's
you
for
get
sure.
out of that situation that you're in.
that's for
Yeah.
sure.
That's what we've done. I know from like firsthand experience. That's what's helped me. That's from stories from Seabass. That's what's helped him.
Mhm.
That's what's helped Jaden, Jacob, Dylan.
Mhm.
That's what's helped even Zane, man.
Yeah, even Zonipo.
That's what's helped all of us.
Anything else?
Any more
No,
questions
no.
from our
Question.
Two
live
live
audience,
audience
or our
members?
tech guy?
Tech team.
I think it's good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
good?
So it's
That's
just so
pretty good.
yeah. To conclude, follow virtue.
And
You'll there will always be hope. Trust
Mhm.
me. Even when you feel like there's no hope and you feel hopeless, it's just a feeling. You can never not be hopeful.
yeah,
Trust me. Even when you're in these hard times, there will be you will get out of it.
Yeah,
Mm.
but it
You'll
will take
find-
time. You have to understand it will take time.
yeah,
Yeah.
and if there's someone around you, family, brother, sister, mom, whatever, if they are dealing with depression, don't rub it in their face that there's these ways to, prevent it. Don't make fun of them for it. Be
Be there
alongside
for
with them and try to help them overcome it.
Yeah, be there for them whenever.
Yeah. Lead the
Yeah.
horse to water, but you
Mhm.
can't make it drink.
Yeah, you
Just give them
Yeah,
pointers. give
lead
'em
them to
ideas.
water,
I
and
think
hopefully they drink.
That's a great point. Don't force it upon anybody. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
think that's
only
great.
recommend.
Yep,
yeah, and you can really only help people that want to help themselves.
definitely.
And if you're in the state, you should want to help yourself and you should want to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So just apply everything we kind of talked about if you want to get out of depression.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to help yourself or
That
your
was
loved
loud.
ones.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just that kind of concluded it. So
That's pretty good.
thank you guys for watching, tuning in. Subscribe, hit the like button, notification bell. I said that wrong. Mixed up the
Yeah.
order, but also
I'm laughing about something else.
follow the Insta, and thank you guys for tuning in. Peace out.